Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club.
It's all that shit stuff.
Hello and welcome back to Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. It's a lockdown special.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Ollie. We got there in the end.
Hey, sorted. So
How you doing?
apparently, I'm all right, man. I'm just over the moon that my podcast that I edited has had more views than yours, apparently.
Yeah.
What's that you've got your hand there, mate?
Oh, he fell off my shelf earlier. I had a kamikaze happened, and I came into my office and just it was a bit of a horror story. There was toys all over the floor, so I was in a bit of a.
And they tried to
panic.
off themselves.
Yeah, Race Dance was on the floor as well.
Jesus.
Look at his head, man. Look how squished his head looks. Can you see that?
I can actually.
It
Yeah.
looks like someone's pinched his head.
I was just going to say, have you seen all the memes and the videos going around of Beavis finding his teepee?
Oh, yeah. Thought that would be quite prevalent at this time. Right?
It's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what was I going to say? Well, I've chosen the subject matter for this one, haven't I?
Oh, the topic.
The topic, we'll say. Well, the loose topic. There you go. I was going to get my box set, but I couldn't be bothered to walk downstairs. I've only just woken up. But
So
yeah.
what are we talking about then, Tom?
So we're going to be doing the Alien trilogy. Not
Trilogy?
Yes, there's no.
Well,
other
there's
ones.
more than a trilogy.
No, there isn't.
There's 2 spin-off films, then there's the prequel series, there's the comic books, there's the video games, there's the toys.
So when I think about Alien, I think about Alien, Aliens,
Yeah.
and Alien 3.
Do you want to know what I think about when I think about aliens?
If you say shit.
I think Alien, awesome. Aliens, pretty damn good. And that's it.
See, I think you're missing out on with the Alien 3. Like, there was a lot of problems during the production of that film, and you can obviously see it. They went through about 3 different writers. Obviously, is it Schneider? Not Schneider.
No, it's Fincher.
Fincher, sorry.
Who is an amazing director. Do you know
Absolutely
what I mean?
incredible. But he won't put his name to it anymore. He actually has to have his name removed from the film, but he never was.
Yeah.
But that was his directing debut, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because hadn't he done like videos for Madonna and stuff like that before?
That's it. He started in music videos.
And I kind of want to say he worked in special effects, but I might be getting him mixed up with someone else.
Well, later on down the line, he pioneered lots of camera techniques and various CGI stuff, didn't he? He's an amazing.
Yeah.
I love some of his films. I mean, what are some of it? So there's is it Fight Club?
Fight Club's a good one. It took me a
Fight
while
Club's
to
a
get
good
into
one.
Fight Club,
Mm.
but let's have a look at early works. I have a feeling he worked for Lucasfilm.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, he was hired by ILM as an assistant cameraman and matte photographer. So there you go.
Oh, nuts! A
So
matte
anyway, should we-
photographer.
Yeah, so he'd video like the matte paintings that would then
Yeah.
they'd put they'd scale down the footage and put like a little Luke Skywalker in like a massive building that wasn't a real building. It was just like a painting. But anyway, should we
Yeah.
start at the beginning?
Yes, let's start at the beginning. So
Because you've seen the documentary that I haven't yet seen.
yes, and I've completely forgotten the name of it already. This one's going to be quite a slow podcast because I woke up at 7:30 this morning and I've been waking up at 12 every day. So you're gonna have to excuse me.
Isn't it called Dreaming or some shit like that? Or what?
Memory. It's called Memory. Yeah. There you go. Quite an apt name for it, since I can't remember it. But yeah, really good film. It goes into more of the O'Bannon alien, who was the one who came up with the concept, actually wrote the script. And if you look on the original Geiger paintings, it says I think it's Dan O'Bannon's Alien in the corner.
Okay.
But really worth watching. It gives you an insight into how much was done before Ridley Scott got on board. I always thought Ridley Scott was this mastermind and he did it all, but no, this Dan O'Bannon. I'm going to double check his name quickly.
No, that's correct. That's his name.
That is, isn't it?
Yeah, because he directed Return of the Living Dead, and he also what else did he write? I think he wrote Dark Star for he wrote Dark Star, which John Carpenter wrote.
Yeah.
And then he also, what else did he work on? There's something else he worked on that I can't remember. But yeah, he definitely directed Return of the Living Dead.
Well, I love that film as well. That was, I think, one of those first films, like, you know, when you go and you get 3 for £5 at the video shop.
Yeah,
I just remember seeing the front cover to that, absolutely loving it, man.
Well, I kind of want to say that started off as like a university project that kind of ballooned a bit, like how George Lucas's what's it called? You know, what did he call his like music, his sound thing? What was it called?
We need to get.
This is so early.
This is so early. I think we're going to learn now to wake up first. 12 o'clock.
What the fuck's it called? My mind has gone completely dead. People are shouting at me now. Oh, THX 1138. There you go. That was like a university project that kind of blew.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that THX.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not editing any of this. This is all going.
It's all going in. Yeah, I think warts and all, definitely. I think you can even see the bags under my eyes.
Wasn't Dan O'Bannon kind of like kicked to the curb though when Ridley Scott got involved?
I think that's what happens when Ridley Scott gets involved with anything, isn't it? To be honest, like I not lost respect for Ridley Scott after I didn't really want to bring up these movies, but like the newer Alien stuff like Covenant and Prometheus.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's a bit.
Well, I think with Ridley Scott, he's only as good as his script is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So,
I mean, like, he was brought up in commercials. That's how he learned his craft, wasn't it? So his actual.
He did the Hovis advert with the kid on the bike, which I think's recently come back on TV.
Oh, nuts!
Yeah.
But you can see he's got like a. Technically, he's amazing. Like he's an amazing director. Yeah. But as you say, it's the script, isn't it? Like Dan O'Bannon's script. If you've ever read that and looked, have you read that?
No,
the actual script.
I believe he worked on Blade Runner as well.
Did he?
But I think again he got kicked to the curb on that as well. I could be wrong on that, but I have vague memories of that. But yeah.
But I think Ridley Scott helped coming onto the franchise because you know they wanted to use Geiger. Originally, the executives weren't going to have that until Ridley Scott got on board. And I think, what had he done at that point before Alien?
I think he'd done a Duelist, I think.
Yeah, so he'd got a bit more of a throw than Dan O'Bannon. And it was because he came on that Ridley Scott, Jesus, one of these days I'll be able to speak. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I'm talking to someone in the back. Someone was talking to me over here. I'm listening to you. Carry on.
That's all right.
Carry on.
I was just looking at it. So he had a bit more power as far as being able to call the shots, and he actually got H.R. Geiger involved. Originally, they weren't going to because they thought that his visuals were too much, that they were too visceral and horrible.
Okay. Yeah, because the thing with Ridley Scott, though, he's really good at texture, which the first film is full of, and atmosphere and tone. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I rewatched the first one yesterday, and it's been a while since I've watched it, and I love the feel of that movie. Like, the cabin crew come across as quite real.
Yeah, like real it's fantastic. It's a lived-in world. It's similar to Star Wars in that sense. And
I mean, you've got Harry Dean Stanton walking around in like a Hawaiian shirt and stuff like that, and also the technology doesn't feel as dated. Like,
there's something about that green text.
Yeah, so I don't know if have you seen the documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune?
Yes, I have actually. Yeah.
So I think a lot of the designers who he hired to conceptualize his Dune worked on the concepts for
the Nostromo, because it was split, wasn't it? So you had
so I think they had Mobius and stuff like that helping come up with the look for for Alien, and it's got this weird, really cool like future, but it's still got one hand in the past. But I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's dated, unlike a lot of other sci-fi films.
It's similar to Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think the Nostromo in that, the spaceship, is actually another character in the film.
Oh yeah.
Like the same as if you played it, like skipping ahead a bit, but the game, they utilise that so well.
Is that one where you play as a daughter?
Isolation, yeah. You've not played that, have you?
No, I haven't. Is it
Really,
good?
really good. I've only played halfway through because I'm terrified. I can't play horror games, and they've nailed it that well. They've got the one alien, and you're hiding from it, and they show you the power of that alien. So it's not like you've just got like a pulse rifle, and you're able to shoot this alien. You've got to hide from it.
Well, that's why I prefer the first film to the second film, because there's just one alien, and you don't know where it is. It could be anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
like so if we just go to that scene when they first go onto the planet. What is it? What's the planet? It's like
let me find that out for you.
UV something. I don't know.
Go
Is
on,
it the same one that's in Aliens as well, or is it a different one?
It's the same one.
It is.
It is. Well,
So is the idea with the second one, the humans go to that planet to kind of experiment on the aliens or kind of investigate them? Because obviously there's been a time gap between...
Well, they go back because what happens in the second one is there's a colony there who are terraforming the planet.
But have they gone there post-alien? Or were they there before that?
They haven't gone there post-alien. They've only gone. They've started terraforming the planet, and the reason that the Marines go there is because there's a distress signal, and no one believed Ripley before, but the company now seeing what's happened, like hearing what's happened, like sends Ripley and a team of Space Marines.
Surely they have to believe Ripley though, because Ash the alien, he's been
part
told,
of the company.
But he's been told he's got to preserve that alien life form to bring it back to Earth or whatever, hasn't he?
Yeah. But I think that... Because there's not... Is there like a version of internet in space? I don't know if the technology is up to that. I think it might be the computer. So I don't think they link Mother. Yeah. Maybe. I might be talking shit there, but I don't think there's like a link between the two. I'm trying to find...
How good... But how good is that, like, where all the alien pods are, the eggs and stuff? It looks so amazing. That scene is stunning.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the way they...
And then, when the egg opens up and he looks inside and you just see that, like, bladder thing kind of... You would not stick your head in front of that. I mean...
If I remember rightly from one of the documentaries as well, they actually use some meat.
You can tell it looks like... You know when they wrap, like, chicken or whatever in that kind of, like...
Yeah, it's like
that veiny kind of membrane.
It's like a bladder or like what's it called? Haggis.
Yeah,
it's like the stomach, isn't it? Yeah. I'm just trying to find out the name of the planet. It's doing my head in. I used to LV something.
That's it.
LV 2020 maybe or something like that.
Because I think it's a different planet. It's another LV that they go on to in Prometheus, I think. But so, yeah, then in the first one, then they take who is it who gets it on his face? It's not Kane. Is it Kane?
It is.
Well, it's Ian. No, it's not Ian Holm. It's the other one.
Oh, I'm writing all this down next time. Come on here. Like looking for things. Do you know what I did as well last night? I just sat there reading it. I was going, that'll all stay. That'll all stay in my brain.
Stay in my mind.
It definitely hasn't.
So yeah, John Hurt. He obviously gets the alien.
Sorry, I've got to tell you this after I've searched for this. LV 426.
There we go.
There's the name of the planet. Do you need me to Google the name of John Hurt? No.
No, I've got it up here. So John Hurt is Kane.
Yeah.
So he's the executive officer of the ship.
And he gets fucked up, yo.
Yeah, but like Sigourney Weaver, that because she's not in the film that much up until that point, and she's like basically saying, "No, I'm not letting you in. It's quarantine. You know, you've got to stay in quarantine now. And then I think is it Tom Skerritt who's Dallas,
Yes.
who you think would probably normally be the hero of the film. He looks a bit like a MacReady from The Thing.
Yes, yeah.
And he won't let her in. Well, no, he will let what's his name, Kane in.
Yes.
And I tell you what, that scene when they kind of like, I think they're like poking the facehugger that's on his face or something. And it just curls around.
It's wonderfully done. That. I mean,
and all you know, it's just someone pulling like a wire.
Oh, totally. Have you ever
just
seen?
Add the sound effects, and it just because it's like an animal kind of like defense or kind of. It's like if you've been attacked by a tiger or whatever. They say don't struggle, just kind of. The more you struggle,
play dead.
The more you struggle, the more you're going to get completely fucked up.
But it's very sexualized, isn't it, as well? Like being Geiger and like...
Well, it looks like a vagina, the mouth of the fucking...
Well, it goes down your throat, doesn't it, as well? It's like a vagina going down your throat. Does that work?
Well, I mean, you look at any Geiger pictures and there's usually some sort of phallus kind of...
See, I was a massive Geiger fan when I was a teenager. And now I've not gone off him, but it's like, no, I can take it or leave it.
Well, everything he drew just looked the same.
Yeah. I mean, the Dead Kennedys penis front cover for, I can't remember which album it is, where it's literally just a penis going in a vagina a load of times. It's quite interesting.
I forgot that you had a Geiger one, yeah. So then the kind of the facehugger just dies naturally, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's done its business, and it falls off and dies.
And then there's the famous scene where they have dinner.
Which, like, I know, like, when people talk about that, the crew, like, the actual cast, did know what was going to happen.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Like, they obviously got into set, they've got to prep shots and everything, and they had to do that over, like, 50 times, watch it happen. And the more the look of horror on their faces, this is what this documentary was saying, was the fact that they had to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. But it's one of the most famous, iconic, most spoofed scenes in cinema history, isn't it?
Well, you know, you've got the Spaceballs.
I absolutely love that. What's the song it sings? Okay. So good though, comes out dancing. But I've got to be honest, for me personally, like now I watch Alien, I'm like, this is probably the better of the two movies. Because let's face it, the two that we've said, Alien and Aliens, they're the strongest ones out of...
Oh, massively.
Massively. But it's obvious, looking back as an adult, Alien is the stronger film. But Aliens, to me, I love that. Like, it's probably the more rewatchable fun one. It's like your bro hangout movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, yo, dude. I mean, what's his name? Bean, who plays Carl Reese in Terminator, and he plays Hicks in this. I mean, James Cameron seems to use the same people if he can, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he was also in The Abyss, wasn't he?
He was
playing a Marine or something again.
I think he always plays a Marine or someone. Yeah. Things along those similar lines.
Oh, do you want to know what the name of the Dead Kennedys artwork was called?
Oh, go on.
It was called Penis Landscape, or Work 219 Landscape XX. That's the other name for it.
Imagine if that's the next planet they go to in the Alien franchise.
It was on the Dead Kennedys. It was a poster included with their 1985 Frankenchrist, yeah.
Yes, got it.
And apparently it's got something to do with a Kiss music video for Rock Hard. You Make Me Rock Hard. So I don't know if it was...
You Make Me Rock Hard.
It's got something to do with Kiss. I don't know.
Oh, nice. What was I going to say? Right, let me give that back up.
What do you think of the Alien, though, when you actually... Because you could probably argue that the suit in Alien, the original one, it doesn't look as good as it does now in terms of how it works.
Well, what was that? They got that guy. It's very similar to the Wookiee in Star
Predator.
Wars.
Oh, like a Peter Mayhew.
Yeah. Well, I think because it was used so sparingly, it works so well. If they'd have just done it and you saw it was a guy running around in a suit, it wouldn't have had the impact. I mean, there's a scene where it's dangling from the ceiling behind. Is it Ripley? No, it's Cadillac Man.
Is it Harry Dean Stanton?
Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
And you're just seeing that residue drip off its mouth.
Yeah, it's a wicked shot. Is that when his mouth comes out?
Yeah, and I think that's the first time you see that as well.
So the guy who played the alien is, I'm going to completely butcher this, but it's Bolaji Badajo, something like that.
Is he a basketball player?
Well, he was from Nigeria.
Mm.
I don't.
So no, he was just so tall because they obviously had to have someone.
So he was. How tall was he? He was 6'10", and all it says on Wikipedia is that he was an actor and a visual artist. But he died in '92. But he was only in the first Alien.
Oh, bless him.
Because we'll just get straight to aliens now.
Yeah,
they're a bit more crawly in this one, aren't they?
Yeah, because they actually made the suits in a different way as well. So
yeah,
like
their head isn't clear. It's like more of a plated effect, isn't it? And
That's
it. Looks a bit less Geiger, I'd say.
Would you say so? I mean, the one thing that looks more Geiger is the nest.
Yes, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and I think they brought him on again to help design that, and I think that's why I absolutely loved. The reason why I loved it is when they go into that nest, and it's just a different world. It's like a wasp's nest.
Well, yeah,
because
that's what they are. They are kind of like they're just kind of. I guess they're a bit like humans. They just kind of
they're a virus.
Yeah,
that's literally what they are. Yeah.
What was I going to say? I just had a complete brain fart then.
Mate, we're both on it today. I had so many little facts and things I wanted to say on my brain.
So do you know why did David Cameron?
This is so good.
Why did James Cameron come on board?
I don't know.
I wonder why Ridley Scott didn't come back, or if this it could have been that James Cameron kind of pitched it, maybe because it's so.
I think he did pitch it actually.
Did it?
The one thing I was going to say though is it was done in Pinewood Studios in England, but
was it?
Yeah.
I imagine the first one was shot here as well,
and it was also shot in a disused power station. I read this last night. It was the first time I'd heard this. On the Birmingham to London train, just before you got to London, there was a power station. I forgot the name of it. And they've shot a lot of it in this power station. It's now been demolished. But I thought that was quite interesting because you can tell, if you look at those sets now and you watch the film, you can tell that that's actually a lived-in, breathed-in space.
Well, that's the one thing I was going to say about the first film. Like, you look at the shirts they're wearing and the suits they're wearing.
Mm.
Everything looks like it's been worn 100 times, or so I think the station is it Acton Lane Power Station.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the one thing I wanted to go back to on the first one though is the look of the android
after he's had his head smashed off.
Yeah, and it's just like those weird beads that are inside of him, just all the milk that spills out.
It's fantastic, and I think that is milk with like a bit of, is it green food colouring or something?
Probably.
Like that?
But so they don't know he's an android until that moment.
No, until they smash his head off. That's why in the second one, Ripley does not want to work with an android.
Oh yeah, I've never seen anyone in a film try to kill someone with a rolled up magazine. To shove in the mouth of someone, and then there's loads of tits behind them. Well, I've never noticed that. There's like all pictures behind.
Oh yeah. Like all the grot mags.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. If you're stuck in space, yeah,
no one can hear you wank. Do we go back to the second one? Yeah. So that is an amazing shot though when they go, because like I think the effects of the second one hold up so well. There's probably a few like blue screen shots, but like when you see them all coming out of the walls,
it's amazing, and you know there's people in those as well.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? The Queen and the I'm skipping right to the end, but if we're talking about the visual effects, so Ripley in the Walker, the loader,
Yeah.
and the Alien Queen, that fight is one of the most epic fights ever made. Also, if you go onto YouTube, you get to see how that. Have you ever watched the making of?
Well, I've watched the ones that were on this
Might
because
be
they're
on
like
that.
because there's like 2 hours on each, isn't there?
Yeah, they're
Like, they're quite-
fantastic.
That's the one thing I was going to say. Actually, have you seen? I haven't watched the director's cut of Alien yet. Is there what difference is there with that? Because
Do you know what? I know the differences in Aliens, but I'm not
So
too
what's
sure about Alien.
So what's the difference with Aliens then?
So you get to see, Newt and her family.
Yeah.
You get to see the father go into the alien ship that we later find out is actually the Prometheus, the engineer's ship. With all, you get to see him go in there, and you get to see him come back. There's various extensions, but that's the one that sticks mainly out in my mind. I think it's more stuff to do with Newt. You see flashback scenes with her. I think it adds about 20-30 minutes to the movie.
Are there any more shots with like the aliens and stuff though?
Not. Do you know what? Because I only watch the director's cut now.
I do. So you just
it's been that long, but I know because having the 2 videos when I was younger that scene's definitely changed. My brain's farting.
I remember for my, Rob Kenyon. So when it was his birthday, when it was when it was the year that Flintstones came out. So what, 93, 94? I bought him. We bought him the director's cut of Alien on VHS. So for his 10th birthday.
Oh, just running around with his pretend pulse rifle.
I tell you what I like is, going back to the power loader. I was always disappointed with the toy because I'm sure it was on wheels.
It was pincers as well. Yeah, it was on wheels.
So it didn't have the legs.
Yeah,
so it was a bit.
It was like pincers as well. It wasn't the. Embarrassing myself there, but yeah, I know what you mean. In fact, the whole Alien toy franchise was a bit weird.
We'll get to that later on. So I tell you what, what's the car that that really cool kind of vehicle the transport that takes them? That's wicked. It looks so cool.
I think it's just a transporter. Also, the drop ship as well is amazing. That's a really good scene where they drop from the spaceship, and that. Because you've got the guy from the company there as well, who's the fucking biggest worm.
Paul Reiser.
Yes, yeah.
From My Two Dads.
And he smashes the 2 incubation chambers of the facehuggers.
Well, doesn't he try to get it on Ripley?
Yeah, he's trying to get her impregnated. And the little girl, Newt. What a bastard. But the other thing is, he gets his comeuppance, and that's what a great scene in that. Where the aliens are coming across the ceiling, because they're watching on the. I think that's another great tool they've got in that of the motion tracker, it's in the room, man. It's in the tension that thing causes, as a filmmaker, that's an amazing bit of kit to be able to cut to, and seeing the aliens come through the ceiling, I remember absolutely shitting myself as a kid.
I mean, so you've got Bishop, who's like a good alien, a good robot as opposed to.
Go on, we'll get it right. Android.
So was he originally meant to be based on Wayland back then, or not?
I don't think there was any correlation between that in that movie, but in the third one, I think they just wanted to get him in as a bit part at the end, so that's why it was decided it was Bishop. I don't think that was discussed in the second one. I think that was something they added on in the third film.
I tell you I love Bill Hicks in that, man. Not Bill Hicks. What's his name's? What's his name? Why is his name Bill Hicks? No, I was going to say Bill Paxton, but for some reason Bill Hicks came in my head. Again,
he says in that
it's very early in the morning.
Something because he's got the most quotable line. Game over, man. Game over.
Was he the one who goes to Fast Cars? You ever been mistaken for a man?
Have you?
But yeah, I miss Bill Paxton a lot. He was such a great actor. Like he was a good director as well. Like he was in Simple Plan as well, and he was in the show where he played like a Mormon with like about God knows how many wives.
What's that one?
What was that one called? It was called. Was it? It wasn't the. It was called Big Love.
Big Love, and that is Big Love if you've got more than one wife.
Yeah.
So should we go on to 3? I feel like I'm absolutely butchering this.
Oh, we both are, man.
Yeah. This is the most bumbling. I was just like, this will be the one where I'm organised for it. I'll do some research. Did it last night. Gone in the morning. Not stuck in my head.
All right. So how do you feel about like the different, like, so the crew in the first one? What are they? They're like miners or something. What are they actually doing?
I think you might be right. They're miners. I think you are right. Yeah.
And then you've got that kind of crew who are not really equipped to deal with any kind of threat. And then in the second one, you've got all these kind of hard military people. So like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the people who are more, in a sense, like a horror film characters? Like, because it's almost like a slasher.
I've got to be honest. I think I prefer the second team, just because I'm just. I remember running around the garden with a gun, pretending it was a pulse rifle, because I saw it when I was really young as well. Like you were saying, your pal Rob Kenyon, he watched it like 10 years old. I think we all did. And I borrowed it from the next door neighbour who was about 5 years older than me. And I just remember going round because my mum was pally with his mum. And I was like in awe of him because he just had this massive video collection. He was into Warhammer, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. So I got to look at his Warhammer. And I remember seeing the 3 films, or maybe just the 2 films at the time, and taking those home. Like, and him saying, "Don't tell your mum you're watching these, but these are fucking amazing." And I watched the first one, absolutely crapped myself. Watched the second one, and I was just like, this is the best action movie ever. Obviously, I was a huge Terminator fan as well, and like that James Cameron thing.
Well, like, so the first one, he's got a lot more in common with, say, like Halloween, hasn't it? And probably
totally
like
has.
Black Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the second one is more in your vein of like Predator, Commando. But the first Terminator is almost like a slasher as well, I think, kind of.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's a never-ending.
But that one like bridges the gap between where it went from like horror films went from being like the kind of, like as I said, the Halloween type to the more action-orientated horror film. So Cameron was like right there in the middle of the two, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was very clever how he did it as well. I mean, the one thing we haven't talked about as well, which Alien was one of the first films to really do, is have that female protagonist who's in such a strong role.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, Sigourney Weaver, absolutely. Like, whatever you think about the Alien franchise as a whole, I think her as an actor throughout the entire franchise, she's been brilliant. I mean, you couldn't imagine. Like, they've tried to replace her, say, in Prometheus or in Covenant, and I don't think anyone's done it quite yet.
Oh, yeah. Sigourney Weaver's like a very, I don't want to say odd actress, but she's very unique. And I think you can't nail down what makes Sigourney Weaver. She's just...
There's something about her. She's
a law unto herself, and do you know what I mean? You can't replicate that or match it.
I'm starting to wake up now, so we're getting there. We're getting on stuff. So with Sigourney Weaver as well, like the hell that they put her through, she didn't realise she'd be using guns in the second film as well in Aliens, as much as she was.
You're breaking up, mate.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so do that again. Say it again.
Sorry. So in the second film, she didn't actually realise she'd be using guns, as like they'd be taking such a precedent in the film.
Was she not keen on that then?
She's a complete anti-gun nut.
really?
Anti-gun nut. So yeah, so she wasn't into it at first, but she fucking owned that role. So she had to learn how to use these guns. They actually had, like as you do on most films, like a prop master who can show her how to use them. But if you watch,
Well, I guess like for her, they probably, because she's like protecting a minor. That's probably why she's probably.
well, this is what I was going to say next. If you watch the making of and rewatch Aliens, there's parts in that where she's got the kid on her side, obviously, and she's holding the kid at the end. And obviously, she's fucking knackered. She's doing 13-hour shoot days holding this kid. So what they did is they made like a sort of Muppet that they stuck to her side. And in some of the shots, it sort of ruined it for me. Rewatch it, and you can see it's just like a fucking doll, and it's just heads going like this. So good. But I think
I love a good making of documentary, but when it points out things like that you've never noticed before, because you're just kind of you're just into the film.
Oh, it's ruined it for me. Like
it's not like Commando where you can blatantly see the cardboard people standing by the buildings that just flop over when there's an explosion.
Fantastic though. I mean, I was thinking, what was the other one I was thinking of then? Oh god, in Star Wars where you've got the cardboard people as well.
Where are those?
That's in I think they've removed them now, but in episode 4, so...
do you reckon he puppet toured them on After Effects, so they kind of...
Yeah, fucking hell, he's done something like that. It's at the end when they all get the medals, there's cardboard... What's it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So where Chewie doesn't get his medal.
It does at the end of the new one.
Fuck that.
Do you know I watched all of them up until the new ones?
Oh, so you haven't watched Force Awakens and Last Jedi and that?
Yeah, I did watch Rogue One, and I did watch, which was alright, and I watched Solo. I enjoyed it the first time I watched it.
Not the second time.
No, not as much. No. But,
I like the big alien that he talks to at the beginning. It's like this big, huge, like locusty kind of weird.
I thought if it stayed like in the backwaters of this horrible industrial town, and that thing was in it like the whole way through, like the slug being.
Thing.
Yeah. I thought that was cool, and it didn't like light, and they all had to wear masks. If you watch it again, they all have to wear masks. The other versions of that creature, because they go out in the light to try and chase him. I thought that was kind of cool. Reminded me of June a little bit.
Yeah, don't they shoot holes in? I can't remember.
He throws a rock and he goes, "This is what do you call those? The
thermal detonator."
Thermal detonator. Yeah, it's a rock. Anyway, back to Aliens. So where were we? I was talking about. It's just amazing for a woman to have that role, and you forget that Alien film is 1979. It's not even got to the 80s yet, and I
wonder if Ripley was written just to be a man, or if
I think it was,
because there's nothing in it that kind of suggests.
I think that role was for a man.
I guess by the time they got to the second one, they kind of added that, because you find out that her daughter's passed away. Do you find out her daughter's died, or she's an adult or something in the time?
Yes. So from Alien to Aliens, when she wakes up and because the first scene in Aliens is when you see that scanner going across. They've opened up the escape pod.
Yeah.
And she's been on ice for 60, 70 years. And she gets the dressing down from the company where they go, well, and she looks on the computer, doesn't she? And she sees her daughter at like 70 and she's passed away. Imagine that, nuts, man.
No, that'd be
fucking balmy.
Does the cat? When does the cat die?
The cat?
Or does the cat? Yeah, Jones the cat.
The ginger cat.
Yeah.
Don't think the cat dies.
Well, the cat goes goes to sleep with her, doesn't he? At the end of the first one.
Yeah, and they wake up together. I think she just leaves the cat on the space station.
Oh, does she? Okay.
I think before they go to, there's the dream sequences in that where she's got the cat and it goes,
yeah,
as the stomach explodes. They've nailed that effect there as well. Like later on in the film when they're cocooned, the various mining colonists, terraforming colonists, like when their chests explode and the sound, amazing.
Yeah. So I can't remember what happens at the end of the second one to lead into the third one. But I mean, what a way to have two of your heroes from the second one.
Strong move.
Newt and Hicks, and then they're just dead by the time.
I think that's a really strong move, though.
Do you think so?
I remember being pissed off at the time because I think every young lad who watched the second one wanted to be Hicks.
Yeah. I remember we used to play it in the playground, and I think I had to be Hudson. There was always Hicks running around, so I was.
Who was the lieutenant as well? I've just remembered because he had some of the best lines of dialogue in Aliens.
Black dude.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Oh,
I like Vasquez's gun. Isn't it basically like a Steadicam rig?
Yes.
With a gun attached.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, Sergeant Apone, isn't it? Al
That's
Matthews.
it. Apone. I'm trying to remember some of his quotes, but yeah, some of the best dialogue in the whole thing is him. Also, another gun that works really. I loved, and I remember going to Mum. Can you get me a shotgun? Is the sawn-off shotgun that Hicks has? Just before.
Do you reckon it's the same one from Terminator?
Yeah, it seems to be a running thing with him shotguns, doesn't it? But you're going on to Alien 3, so the film starts with the sound of an alarm, and the aliens they get jettisoned onto a planet because an alien's on board, and there's a fire started. But I like the start of that film. I like what happens now. But yeah, as I said, I went mad because you didn't want Hicks to die, did you?
So when does she get impregnated?
It must have been that face hugger at the start of the actual film.
Because it seems like she's got it inside of her for a lot longer than Kane had his, and he's like just... bursting.
Well, I think what they try and say is because she's been in hypersleep, it's took longer to wake up.
Oh, okay.
I think that's... Because I thought exactly the same thing. I thought it was a bit of a cop-out.
And isn't it like in the director... Well, it's not a director's cut, but the extended cut.
Mm.
Isn't it the animal that the facehugger went on to was either a bull or a dog?
It was a dog. In fact, I think it was cows.
Yeah, so it's a bull or a cow, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was cows, and it took on more of the features. Because that went on to... Sorry, bringing up the toys again.
I had the gorilla one, and he went...
I had the... What?
And he had a squirty head.
I had the bull one.
You could put water in his head, and then you press down his head, and water would shoot out of his head.
Or battery acid.
Yeah. There was a snake one that I think could bend around.
Yeah, there was a snake one. I remember that.
So in the two different cuts of Alien 3, does the alien look different in all the shots then?
I think it looks awful. Do you not?
Because it's like a little puppet, isn't it? A lot of the time,
like they've used stop mo on it, but it doesn't look great, does it?
It's been that long since I've seen it.
I think you should rewatch it. I love the sets. They built some amazing neo-Gothic sets. But the actual story to it, I think, was butchered that many times. There was no coming back.
Well, wasn't the one where they're like on a wooden planet or something? Or
that sounded cooler than... yeah.
Is it a weird premise? I don't understand how that works, but... Is it like they've just built a wooden structure around this small planet? Or
I didn't get that. I remember there was some concept art that looks really cool, but it looked like a massive shanty town.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah. What was that? But that was another one that was all filmed in England again.
Okay.
Another one at Pinewood. Because I worked at Pinewood, not doing any filming. I went down when I worked for a crewing company. And we set up, like a team building exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Like we set up this room that I later found out is, all the Carry On films is if they had a castle, it'd be in this building. Because there's been a documentary on Pinewood recently, really worth watching. Jonathan Ross on BBC iPlayer.
I'll have to check that one out.
And it's got he interviews all the guys who did all the stunt guys from James Bond. He goes into they've got the water tank there that everybody uses, and it's really interesting to watch how they film underwater. Absolutely nuts. But what I was going to say was they had the alien the alien from Alien 3 in the calf when we were down there, just like a little thing on the side.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
So she lands, or somehow she's in a prison. It's in a prison colony.
That's right, yeah. And they've got no weapons. They've found God, and it's all men.
And they're all like rapists and paedophiles.
Yeah, there's like a scene where a few of them try and rape Ripley, and she just kicks her ass. And the music, the music if she kicks her ass is like full on 90s industrial.
Really? Who did the music for that? So
I'm not too sure.
I've got it up. It's Elliot Goldenthal, who did like Batman Forever and Batman Robin and stuff.
Oh, nuts! Batman Robin, what a film!
I know.
But I do love the feel of that film. Like
it's very sweaty, isn't it? If I remember.
Yeah, it's just really dark.
There's very muddy looking and sweaty, like greens and.
You can see where Schneider's going to go, can't you?
Schneider.
Why do I keep saying Schneider?
Fincher,
sorry. Where Fincher's going to go later down the line. There's definitely some of his tropes in there. What was I going to say? The scene in that, though, that sticks in everyone's memory is the autopsy scene, which was
to refresh my memory.
So she wants to check that Newt doesn't have an alien inside her.
But she's dead, though, obviously.
She's dead. But there's an autopsy scene where they crack her open, and it's horrific. They use like a bone saw and crack her ribs, and you hear the ribs crack. But originally that scene was meant to be like, I don't know, another 5 minutes of him just, because she says that she might have cholera, because obviously she doesn't want to say to people there's a fucking alien, because I think she's nuts. So
So didn't Michael Biehn like sued them over this?
Because he used his likeness.
Apparently, he said he got paid more for the third one than he did for the second one, and he wasn't.
Fair play to him, though. They shouldn't have killed him off. I think it's a strong decision. Like, sometimes you need to do that to, like, enhance the plot, make things go forward. But I think you just cut all your talent off right there. You should have, I don't know.
Well, I wonder if it had anything to do with, in Back to the Future, where you had Crispin Glover, who, like, sued them for Back to the Future 2 for using, like, his likeness in that. So I wonder if it was the same kind of, not law, but that same kind of...
I am the law. Yeah.
Tactic that he used. But
no, that sort of makes sense.
Doesn't she, like, die in a vein of, like, Terminator 2, like, jumping in, like, acid or whatever?
I remember nearly crying when that happened as well.
Does she do that?
No, she goes, oh, and then she does a Jesus pose.
Does she?
As she goes backwards, yeah, she does a massive Jesus pose. But, oh God, go away, whoever you are.
Does she find God in that film then?
No, I don't think she finds God. But there's the black guy, I've forgotten his name, and he's like meant to be like the Reverend type thing. And I love the scene because they lure the alien into the lead vats, so that's how they're going to kill it, because there's no weapons on the planet either.
Okay.
So how they have a failed attempt, I think the first time, and the second time they manage to get it into these vats because they're going to pour this liquid lead. That's what she jumps into at the end, and he dies with an axe that's just running at the alien. And you just see him get torn apart. But I think that's kind of a good way to go.
Do you reckon she did like a Harrison Ford saying, I want to die in this film, I have to die in this film?
No, because she came back for Resurrection that I wasn't going to mention.
That film is... Who directed that? It's the guy who did Amelie and City of Lost Children. So that is...
See, those are two great films. And I don't think he was listened to. I think what happens...
John Perry Jeanette, that's his name. Jeanette.
Well, I don't know if you'd agree with this. I think the studios have too much say in what goes on in these alien films. They've obviously got this franchise that they've now fucked to death. by putting that many subpar films out. But it seems like everyone's got something to say, and that Alien Resurrection is just another case of too many cooks.
You know who wrote it?
Go on.
Josh Whedon, who did the Avengers movies and Buffy.
And Buffy. I love Buffy. Buffy, not the actual show.
So you had Winona Ryder as the android.
Who was completely out of place in it as well. I didn't understand her.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman's good in anything.
It's got the guy who's the villain, I think, in The Crow as well.
Yes, he has.
What's his
the
name?
guy with the dreads.
Yeah, what's his name? Isn't he like the captain? Oh no,
He's
Ron Perlman the captain.
2 guns. Yeah, Ron Perlman's the captain, I'm pretty sure. But they have that, like...
Oh, what's his name's in it as well? Brad Dourif, who's from... he's the voice of Chucky.
Is he the guy in the wheelchair?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Actually, no, I don't know if he is. I think the guy in the wheelchair is in a lot of... what's his name? The director's John Perry-Jeanette's films. But let me have a quick look at the synopsis. Just talk while I'm.
Well, I'll tell you what. Do you mind if I pop to the loo?
Go on then.
I've had a coffee. Put it that way. All right, it'll be 2 seconds. Shall I pause this or just leave it running?
Just leave it running.
Right, back in 2 seconds. Oh. Don't leave this in. I'm back.
Yo.
Hello.
Hello. I was gonna go and get my skeleton that I was gonna put on the chair. And just
I was
have
just
it
thinking what I could do then. So where were we? We're on Alien Resurrection.
So yeah, I was gonna say the wheelchair guy. His name is Dominic Pinnon, and he was also in City of Lost Children. And
I thought he would have been. Yeah, because he's quite a strange-looking guy, isn't he?
And he's in what's the other film? Delicatessen. All the films that guy did as well.
Did they win any? Just thinking about this, did they win any awards for Aliens or anything?
Let's have a look. What do you reckon? What you saying? What do you reckon they may have won?
Special effects.
All right, so let's have a look at Alien. Oh yeah, there was a school play adaptation, wasn't there, of Alien?
Oh, did you watch that?
I watched a bit of it.
It's amazing. Imagine your teacher going, right, we're doing Aliens. I'd be like, fucking yes. But the actual production values on that was better than, I don't know, most Broadway plays. Also, in Alien Resurrection...
Here we go. I found list of accolades received by the Alien film series. So let's have a look. So it won Best Visual... I assume these are the Oscars. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, Academy Awards. So
amazing.
It was nominated for Best Art Direction, but it won Best Visual Effects.
Right. Okay.
The British Film Academy Awards. It won Best Production Design and Best Sound. Aliens won Academy Awards. It won Best Sound Effects Editing and Best Visual Effects.
Oh, nuts.
Alien 3 only won a Golden Reel Award for Best Sound Editing.
I thought you were going to say a Razzie.
It won for Alien Resurrection. Won Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. It won Best Sci-Fi Actress. Oh no, it was nominated for Best Sci-Fi Actress for Sigourney Weaver, but Winona Ryder won Best Supporting Actress for the sci-fi film. That's about it, really.
Well, you were saying they won for the soundtrack, or was it the sound effects?
Sound effects or sound editing.
I think that's one of the things I really love about that film. It is the soundtrack, which I've quickly looked up, by Jerry Goldsmith. Like the strings on that, and I've wanted to know what the name of the instrument is for years, and it's made of metal, and they use a bow on it. And it's that haunting, really ethereal, nasty. It's that sound, you know what I'm on about. It's like quite discordant, and I think that soundtrack absolutely makes it. But I was going to say about Alien Resurrections. There's a scene where there's two aliens in the water, and the one guy who can't walk, who we were talking about just from Delicatessen, is on the back and he's shooting behind him.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember which member of the cast, but they nearly died.
Really?
Nearly died filming that. Let me find out who it was who nearly died. Also, something to think about with that film is, when they go in the room with all the Ripleys.
Oh God, and there's it's almost I can't. In my head, I've got visions of like lampshades with nipples on it, but I think that's something else.
That's
isn't that
Texas Chainsaw?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Originally, that's basically Ed Gein, isn't it? Because that's what he actually did, which is terrifying, man. Have you ever looked at any of the crime scene photos?
No, but I'm going to in a bit.
Oh, mate.
So James Horner did the soundtrack for the second film. And James Horner, if you listen to a lot of his films, he reuses a lot of the melodies and
like
stuff.
The motifs, I think that's the word, isn't it? Who nearly died on Alien Resurrection? Well, it died at the box office.
Everyone's career, I think. Yeah.
Snap. They nearly killed Ron Perlman.
Bloody hell.
So,
Hellboy himself.
Let's have a little look here. Come on, Hellboy. And also the narrator to my favourite video game franchise ever. He does the bit that goes, War never changes.
What game's that?
Fallout.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Wasn't Liam Neeson in the third one? Doesn't he play your father in the voice?
Yeah, he does. Also in New Vegas, is it Matt Berry?
Matt Berry!
Is it Matt Berry?
That's my impression of Matt Berry. Really bad.
Not Matt Berry. Oh, God. Friends.
Matt Berry's the guy
who plays Chandler.
Oh, Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
Is it Matthew Perry?
Yeah. Matt Berry.
Could it be any more post-apocalyptic?
Oh my God! Yeah, he plays a character in that. But yeah, so
Matt Berry's the one from like Garth Marenghi's.
Yeah, I realised after I'd said it. What is it? He said
that show is so good.
Do you know what? We should do a Garth Marenghi's Dark Place episode.
Oh, totally.
Should we do that next?
With bonus man-to-man with Dean Lerner.
Oh, mate.
I said, the fuck you don't do Wet White.
What is it? And I said to him, this could be bigger than Quantum Leap. It's so good.
So good.
What's the one with the cabbage? Like they turn into cabbages. Or like they turn into like some sort of plant thing.
Well, there's one where the one woman gets telekinesis powers and you see all the strings holding like the knives and stuff like that dangling in front.
Brilliant.
And then there's another one with, I think it's, what's his name from the Mighty Boosh? He's like an ape man and he's like...
Shit, yeah, I forgot because it's basically a lot of the cast from like the Boosh. And...
Well, I think a lot of the people from Dark Place were actually in the Mighty Boosh in the original version of it. But for some reason couldn't star in the Mighty Boosh because Garth Marenghi was bought by Channel 4 and then Mighty Boosh was bought by BBC. So they could kind of guest in each of the shows, but they couldn't be
main parts.
Because I'm pretty sure Richard Ayoade was a main part of the Boosh, but ended up having to have a small
He's brilliant,
part.
as well. What was the other one as well? It's basically about all the cool kids in London.
Oh shit, Nathan
Barley.
Barley, yeah. Because that's written. Isn't that written by?
fantastic.
Didn't Chris Morris write that?
I think he might have. Because that's got, what's his name from the Boosh in it, Howard Moon, as the failing writer.
Does Noel Fielding pop up in it?
Yeah, he's a DJ, isn't he?
Yeah.
So fucking good. And that, what is it? The pie, the hair.
Yeah,
the hairstyle. He just falls asleep in a load of paint, and then everyone.
I need to rewatch that. It's been a long time since I've watched that.
Do you know what? It's aged really well. It's really good. It's just
So you got Alien Resurrection.
Shite. Yeah.
Then you have 2 films preceding that. So you have
No.
Alien versus Predator and Alien versus Predator 2 Requiem.
Do you remember how fucking long we waited for Alien versus Predator? We saw
this guy.
I did, because we saw the alien skull at the end of Predator 2.
Well, that, and there's a load of comic books, wasn't there? And and video games.
And video games. And, like, some of the video games were great. Like, obviously
Going to Sega World, I'm sure it was a Sega video game, and you had that one with the massive, like, guns fucking vibrated.
That was one of my all-time favourite games. In fact, on my Facebook, I had my profile picture as that game for, like, 6 months. But I used to go to Acox Green Laser Quest, and they had that game there, and I spent, like, an hour and a half on that game machine every time. I used to go there every weekend, and I could never get past the second level.
Because they did Alien versus Predator games like on the Jaguar, I think, where you could play as like an alien predator or a human.
Yes, and I think the Predators
then there was
and
a
the
PC
humans
one.
actually were together. You could fight together with them. And there was a really good PC game where you could play as an alien, a predator, or a human. The human was absolutely shit. The alien, you could crawl over like the walls and everything, and it was like in that. So I think it was like a what would you call it? Like a fisheye sort of look.
Right.
So if you played the alien, and then the predator, as in every other Alien vs Predator game, was massively overpowered. So you always played as the predator.
And then there was like the Colonial Marines, wasn't there?
Which everyone thought was going to be the best game ever, and it turned out to be absolute dog shit.
Well, I was reading about this the other day, and I think it was produced by Gearbox, who I think did the Borderlands series.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
And really, they just didn't care about Alien, and they were just constantly working on Borderlands, and kind of like, then they shifted off. They subcontracted someone else to make Alien for them, the Alien Colonial Marines, because I think if people watched the trailer for when that game was supposed to come out,
it looked like everything we wanted.
And then when the game came out, everyone was like, "What's this?" But I think they patched it quite a few times to kind of make it look a lot better as time went on.
Yeah, because there were like aliens just getting stuck in walls, and it was just buggy as hell. I remember buying it when it first came out and just being like, "What the fuck is this?" Because for all intents and purposes, it looked like an Alien game. It looked like what we wanted, but it just didn't play like it. Oh well.
And then you touched on the other one. Was it Isolation?
Isolation is where they've done everything perfectly. Like, they've been really respectful to the franchise, and they've just nailed the feel of that first film.
I'm going to have to give it a go, but I'm just wondering, how does a game work, though, where there's only one protagonist that's... like one antagonist that's after you? How does that work?
There isn't. So, do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yeah, I don't mind.
So, androids.
Oh, okay.
So, they've all got a little bit nuts.
Oh, okay.
So, you're avoiding them as well. But when the alien comes in, man, it's scripted. Like, obviously it's not like an open world or anything, because that's how games are now, but it's really nice. It's on rails, and you've got open areas.
It's on rails?
Like, as in the game's on rails, so you've got a predetermined path.
So it's a bit like a Resident Evil game or something?
Yeah,
like
I'd say so, yeah. Yeah,
so it's like a linear game.
It's a linear game, yeah.
Well, I prefer that. I know you like your big open worlds, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I prefer to have my hand held as I'm going through the game.
You saying that? Have you ever played any of the Uncharted games?
Oh, I love those games, but they're like movies that you play. Really,
I've only recently started playing them, but I haven't played the first one. I've got the second one, and I've started on the third, but I've just bought the second one as well, because I'm really enjoying the third one.
Well, the whole idea, I think, with those games is the pace. It's meant to be fast paced, and it's built in a way that I don't think you die often, and it's meant to. You just keep playing
It's
it.
an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, so they want it to feel like a movie as you're playing it, so you don't die much, and you get a lot of ammo and stuff.
It's Naughty Dog, isn't it?
Yeah, who are amazing.
And have you seen The Last of Us has just been delayed?
Well, it's been indefinitely delayed, so we don't know when it's coming out now.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Fuck you, COVID-19!
Perhaps it's because COVID-19 is actually going to turn us all into like plant-based life forms or something.
Did you watch those Alien versus Predator?
I watched the first one and I was really excited for it. I went to the cinema to go and see it, and I remember because sometimes when you go to the cinema and it's a franchise you love, Star Wars, and you're watching it just die in front of your eyes, but you don't want to admit it. So I watched it, and then I went to watch it again, and on the second viewing, I was like, no, that was actually as shit as I remember.
Because the first one was like quite. It was by the guy who did the Resident Evil films, wasn't it?
And you can really tell. Is it the guy from Resident Evil? It is,
Paul W.S. Anderson or something like that.
And I mean, those Resident Evil films, because there wasn't like a lineage of amazing films before. I know, excluding like Alien Resurrection. Like I can forgive the Resident Evil films, and they're sort of a guilty pleasure. That shit, I don't mind watching them.
I mean, the plots of the games are fucking stupid.
That's what I mean. And what's her name? Mila
Kunis? No, Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, she's worth watching it for. Cut that bit out.
I'm not cutting anything out.
But yeah, it was, and I didn't like, and we knew it was coming at the end. So it gets to the end, and you've got the dead predator, and it's like it's gonna burst out of his chest now, isn't it?
Oh, is this where the aliens got dreadlocks and shit?
Yeah,
it looks ridiculous.
It's so shit. So what did we have after that? We had
the Requiem.
Which
is set on Earth, I think. Well,
Not as bad as the one before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they basically steal loads of scenes from Alien 2. Aliens, I should say. There's a bit more of that sort of feel to it. And then what does it go on to after that? I just want to talk. Basically, what I'm trying to get to is the Predators film, which I thought was quite good. Like,
is that the one that was directed by Nimrod Antal?
I think it might be. It's where they're on the planet and they get dropped there.
Yeah, I saw that at the cinema and I didn't like it initially.
And it had fish burning.
But it really warmed to it the second time I watched it. I thought, do you know what? It's not actually
It's not bad. It's actually quite a good film.
And you had Adrian Brody jacked himself up for that one.
Yeah. And then
so then you got two more Alien prequels.
So Prometheus, which I enjoyed.
I thought it looked amazing.
I thought it looked beautiful to the time.
I thought the script was dumber than a bag of rocks. It was just like when this alien pops up, and then the guy from Timothy Spall's son, whatever, he's like, "Oh, hello there, hello there, hello." It's like,
is that who that is? That's his son, the one with the ginger hair. He's got like the
not that guy. The one who's not him. Not the ginger guy. Looks like he's melting at the end, and he runs at the ship going.
Yeah, I thought
it's the one who gets it. Like that snake thing grabs him and goes inside of his.
Oh fuck yeah! I know you're right. That makes more sense.
He was in like Hot Fuzz and Shaun the Dead and stuff like that.
Okay.
And he did the recent remake of War of the Worlds that was on BBC, which is well boring.
Was it you who was telling me on the the making of Prometheus? Like Geiger's there.
He's so funny.
The poor bastard.
Well, he's like really old, and he's about this tall, and he's like humbling around the office, and he's like helping the designers like come up with the concept designs. And
just
stuff.
drawing pictures of dicks.
What do you think of this? And they're like, that's really good. What do you think?
Can we get this guy that stinks a piss out of the office, please?
He blatantly did, didn't he?
Yeah, totally did.
Have you seen it? His restaurant that apparently is now like a crack house.
In Germany, yeah. It is Germany, isn't it? Yeah. This is the Geiger bar. It's amazing looking.
You wouldn't want to sit on those chairs because you know there's something like...
Yeah, and there's
Ooh.
like remnants of various bodily functions left there. I mean, there's a really good documentary just on him, where they go to like his, I suppose it's like his ranch, and he's made all these sculptures. Because like, whatever you say about him, he's like art. He was the first one to do that airbrushed, amazing sort of biomechanical style that all the goths
that's all he
have now,
did.
I was going to say all the goths have now got tattooed and are really regretting.
Oh, there's so many people who I know have got sleeves of that, and you're like, why?
Yeah, why have you got... It's like the same as when people have like flesh ripped off them, and like you just...
Oh man,
I hate that shit. I'd rather just go for sailor tats.
And then there's the good old tribal tattoo as well.
Oh yeah, gotta love a tribal. So Prometheus, and then because they pussied out and didn't actually just go into the story that they should have, and I thought they had an amazing opportunity to talk about the engineers, and they went and did Covenant, which was an alien film.
Oh yeah.
And when he's playing the fucking flute in it, that does my head in. What's that about?
Technically, it's well done the way they do it.
Yeah.
But they kill again. They
killed off someone that shouldn't be killed off as well.
Well, they do what in Alien 2 to Alien 3, they kill off two of the main characters. Yeah. They kill off those lead characters. Well, at least
it's like chopping off
female
a limb.
character. You don't find out how he gets a new body because he's just a head in a bag, which I thought would have been cool seeing Noomi Rapace walking around with just a head.
Yeah.
But no, somehow he gets a body.
Just pushing himself around with his tongue.
Yeah.
Like the Thing, you know, when the head comes off in the Thing.
He made himself some little legs, like a little, so he could scurry around.
Yeah.
But that film bored me to tears. I can't even tell you.
And the aliens look shit as well.
When
Pure CGI
when it burst
aliens.
out of that guy, who is it burst out of? I can't remember now.
See, that's how much you've not remembered.
Well, it basically, it went from being this big to a full-size alien within the space of 2 minutes of the film. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was stupid.
I mean, it grows pretty quick in the very first film, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, the one character who was perfect in that film, Eastbound and Down. What's his name?
Oh, I forgot he was in it, man.
He's brilliant in it.
But I enjoy watching him in everything, though.
I thought he fucking nailed whatever part he was. He was the pilot, and I was just like, I can imagine you in Aliens, like you would have worked.
Well, because he's like a hick, isn't he? Like
he's just a fucking redneck.
And then, have you ever seen his film called The Foot Fist Way?
No.
You should watch that. It's like one of his very first ones.
What's it called? I'm going to save that for later.
Foot Fist Way. So it's directed by the guy I think who created Eastbound and Down and stuff, and I think he's like a martial art instructor or something. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Okay. Right.
Did you watch the other film that guy made called Observe and Report?
No.
With Seth Rogen. That was a good one as well.
Observe and Report. I'll do that one as well.
Yeah. The plot is exactly the same as Paul Blart Mall Cop, but it's a lot darker and weirder. And apparently, when they wrote, they used a leak. So basically, they ripped off Observe and Report for Paul Blart Mall Cop, but made it like as a PG.
Oh right, okay.
Kids film, yeah.
They tend to do that with a lot of things. There's always two films that come out. It's like Volcano and fucking hell, what was the other
Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak, and then
I like Dante's Peak. That was fun. Volcano was stupid. Like when the volcano comes out of the middle.
Is that the one in LA?
Yeah, and it just comes out in the middle.
Who stars in that one? Because I know it's Pierce Brosnan in the other one, isn't it?
It's Tommy Lee Jones, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus, bless him.
So, did you read many of the Alien comics and stuff? Or?
I did. I've still got loads. The Expanded Universe is really interesting. There's actually like a comic where the alien comes down to Earth, which is really interesting. And it basically takes over Earth. They managed to fight it back. There's only one. There's loads of really... There's also some good audiobooks as well.
Well, that's the one thing I wanted to say, because you were saying about the world building. For me, personally speaking, I don't give a crap about the world. I think sometimes it's really good for setting and kind of creating a believable universe. But when you explore it too much, it kind of...
It ruins the mystique.
It ruins it. It's like they've done it with Terminator. They've done it with this.
I would completely agree with Terminator.
And I think sometimes just keep it as a background thing. We know it's there.
Yeah.
Star Wars is a whole different kettle of fish, because I think there's so much more you can do with Star Wars, because those films introduced loads of different kind of characters and things like that. But
yeah.
But I just think with the Alien franchise and stuff, just leave it.
I think they should either leave it or return back to basics. Because
but then you're just redoing what's already been done and done pretty much perfectly anyway. So,
but imagine, right? Because I saw the script, not the script, but I saw the premise of what they were going to do. It's obviously, I suppose you call it a reboot. Is ignore everything from 3 onwards and start from 2 again.
Yeah, but they've done that. They did that recently with Terminator. No one cared.
But they were fucked it up so bad.
But they tried to do it with Superman. With Superman Returns was meant to be a sequel to Superman 2. No one cared. They did that with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where the animated film was meant to be set after Turtles 2. And then they were going to do it again with RoboCop. No one gives a fuck.
I do. If I could hit.
Just leave it. Once you've fucked something, it's fucked. Move on and do something different. Do you know what I mean?
Quote of the day: once it's fucked, it is fucked.
Yes.
Well, I think on that bombshell, because I can hear.
Well, I was going to ask you one question though.
Okay.
Do you wish they made that cartoon that was allegedly going to happen?
I would have loved to have seen that. It would have obviously been more family friendly.
Yeah, because those stills you've seen, apparently they're not from the show. They're actually from an advert for the toys.
Oh, okay.
I assume it would have adhered to that look anyway, but apparently that was meant to be the advert.
Do you know what I'd have really loved to have seen if they were going to do a cartoon?
What's that?
So Spawn the Animated Series, whoever made Spawn the Animated Series did an Alien.
Oh, that would work. Or if they brought back Alien and did it as like a Netflix show, or...
that could be interesting.
That might work better.
Or maybe just exploring like Weyland-Yutani Industries or something.
No, stop it. No.
Why?
We don't care about the world. We've decided this a minute ago.
You just want to see the aliens, don't you?
Well, no, people surviving these fuckers, that's what I find interesting.
I think if you... See, I don't like it being set on Earth either.
When they try and explain how the aliens were created, I was bored to tears that he kind of made it in his little hut.
All I will say
is that's so
midi-chlorians.
Yeah. There you go. Right, what should we talk about next time?
I think we hit the nail on the head. Let's do a fun one. Let's do Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
All right, okay. I'm going to have to rewatch that then.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, well, I'm going to go and walk this dog because I can hear him actually scratching at the door.
That's me. Right then. Cool. I'll see you later then.
I'll see you in a bit, mate. This has been Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.